Morning light cut across the kitchen table, illuminating the steam rising from a tray of toast. Sarah placed the plate down with a soft clatter. Ahmad sat at the head of the table, his attention locked on the dense text of a leather-bound book. The silence held for only a heartbeat. Maria, Sophia, and Yahya burst into the room, their footsteps thudding against the hardwood floor. Maria snatched a piece of toast, her gaze darting toward the garden window. "The air feels different today," she said, her voice bright with sudden energy. Sophia laughed, shaking her head at the comment, but Yahya did not join in. He stood motionless, his eyes fixed on the old oak tree. A flicker of light pulsed near the roots, rhythmic and sharp against the morning shadows. He leaned closer, his breath fogging the glass. The light flared again, brighter this time. Without waiting for the others to finish their meal, Yahya turned and sprinted toward the back door. Maria and Sophia followed, their laughter fading. They pushed through the screen door, the hinges groaning as they stepped out into the damp grass. Sophia led the charge across the lawn, her boots kicking up sprays of dew. She did not see the jagged edge of metal protruding from the soil until her toe caught it squarely. She lunged forward, hands slamming into the dirt to break her fall. She stayed there for a second, catching her breath, then began to dig. The object was not metal. It was wood, heavy and cold, buried deep beneath the root system of the oak. She brushed away the loose earth, revealing intricate patterns carved into the surface. Yahya knelt beside her, his fingers tracing the swirling grooves. He pushed against the lid. It resisted, then gave way with a sharp, metallic click that echoed in the quiet garden. Inside, the air seemed to shift. A parchment map lay folded against the velvet lining, yellowed and brittle. Beside it sat a brass compass. It did not point north. Instead, it pulsed with a soft golden rhythm, the needle twitching in time with the light. The playfulness of the morning vanished. They stared at the objects, the weight of the discovery settling over them. They grabbed the box and scrambled back toward the house, the screen door slamming shut behind them with a finality that signaled the end of their ordinary day. The screen door rattled as they burst into the kitchen, the wood box clattering onto the table. Ahmad looked up, his book sliding to the floor. He did not ask questions. He reached for the map, his fingers hovering over the parchment. He smoothed the yellowed edges, his eyes scanning the ink. Sarah leaned in, her hand resting on the table, her knuckles white. Ahmad traced a winding path. "This is not a map of our town," Ahmad said, his voice barely a whisper. The kitchen grew still. Sophia gripped the edge of the table, her eyes wide. "Can we go?" she asked. Sarah looked at Ahmad, searching his face for a sign of hesitation. She found none. She nodded slowly, her gaze sweeping across them. "We go together, or not at all." The sun dipped below the horizon, pulling the last of the light from the kitchen. Shadows stretched long across the floorboards. Yahya held the map up to the dying glow of the window. He did not move. He did not blink. Suddenly, the parchment rippled. Invisible ink bled into existence, the letters shimmering with a pale, cold luminescence. "Only the brave heart finds the path." The words burned against the paper, casting a ghostly flicker over the table. The house fell into a heavy, suffocating silence. No crickets chirped. No wind moved the trees. Then, the compass in Yahya's hand began to scream a high, metallic whine that vibrated through his bones. The needle stopped its rhythmic pulse and began to spin, faster and faster, until it blurred into a single, golden disk. A blinding light erupted from the casing, filling the kitchen with a harsh white glare that turned the walls transparent. The light from the compass pulsed, casting long, frantic shadows against the hallway walls. Yahya stood motionless, his knuckles white as he gripped the brass casing. The needle stopped its frantic spinning. It locked, pointing dead ahead, vibrating with such force that his entire arm trembled. He took a step, then another. The floorboards groaned beneath his weight, but the sound was swallowed by the low, steady thrum emanating from the device. He reached the front door. The brass handle felt cold, contrasting with the heat radiating from the compass in his palm. He did not look back at the dark kitchen or the silent house. He drew a sharp breath, his heart hammering. With a firm, decisive motion, he turned it. The latch clicked. The door swung outward into the night. The adventure had officially begun.